Georgia minus 22.5 against Kentucky. The over-under is 49.5. Teats, let's start with you.
Man, it's wild to see some pretty big teams like Georgia, Kentucky, and the spread being that wild.
Yeah.
We're talking 3 touchdowns. And the thing is Georgia can do it. But we've also seen Georgia struggle against teams like Mizzou. You know, I'm taking, with Kentucky at home, I'm taking Kentucky plus 22.5. I think that Kentucky has still a really good defense. I think that it's going to be kind of a back and forth for maybe like the first 3 minutes of the game. I do think Georgia's going to win, but I think that Kentucky can kind of pull out some garbage time stuff, get within that 22.5 spread.
Yeah, Kentucky last week failed to Vanderbilt 24-21. That snapped Vanderbilt's 26-game losing streak to SEC opponents. That's outstanding. Bad. Like, that's bad for Kentucky. But Georgia has the SEC East wrapped up, and they're going to focus on keeping players healthy in the fourth quarter when they're up big. So I'm going to give Kentucky a shot to cover in this one, plus the 22.5. It's their last home game. The seniors are going to play hard. So I'll take Kentucky plus 22.5. Trey?
Well, I'm not going to team ride with you guys because I'm not picking a spread. Both of these teams are led by their defenses. The only difference between these two teams for me is that Georgia's also elite on their offense while Kentucky's only elite on their defense.
Right.
Georgia is ranked number 2 in the country at allowing 12.9 points per game. Kentucky's 32 in the country at 22.2 points per game. So both these defenses love to show up. They love to try to not even allow touchdowns if they can. So I'm going to go under the 49.5. The under is 10-1 in Kentucky's last 11 games overall. The under is 6-1 in Kentucky's last 7 home games. The under is 4-1 in Georgia's last 5 road games. And the under is 5-2 in the last 7 games between these two teams. So I think the 49.5 is a little bit too much for Kentucky to try to keep up with Georgia because 22 points is a lot, so they're essentially saying that Georgia's going to score 30 and Kentucky's going to score 10, and we'll see what's going to happen, but I'm going to go under the 49.5 there.
All right, so we have Kentucky, and the under. Let's move on to Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma is minus 7.5. The over-under is set at 66.5. I'm going to start with this one. Spencer Sanders is back, guys, in this game. He will play. Here's a direct quote from him after they lost. Or no, they came back and won last week, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think they came back and won last week. He said, whenever someone asked him about playing Oklahoma this week, he said, ain't no question about it. I'm playing. So I'm going to take Oklahoma State, and I'm also going to take Oklahoma State money line because I think they can win this game. Trey?
Dang, you should have maybe picked them as your dog of the week.
Nope, I was more confident West Kentucky.
That's fair.
Oklahoma is coming off a game where they allowed West Virginia's backup quarterback to run for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they're facing another running threat in Spencer Sanders. So I'm going to go Oklahoma State and the points, just like Jesse did. OSU is 10-2 ATS in their last 12 road games. OU is 1-6 ATS in their last 7 games overall. OU is 0-5 ATS in their last 5 home games. So I'm going to go with OSU in this. It's a rivalry game. It's Bedlam. You could probably throw the trends out the window, but they're there for us to look at, and the trends say take OSU in the points here.
All right, Teats, are we riding together, or what do you have?
No, we're not riding together. So the thing is like I'm looking at Oklahoma minus 7.5. Here's the deal: if you want an actual lock, like there's no doubt this is going to hit, take Oklahoma money line. It's minus 275, so it's not going to pay out at all unless you put your entire paycheck on it. But the thing is that Oklahoma, I think we were talking about Oklahoma is 90-19 against Oklahoma State and Bedlam. Historically, we're speaking. Oklahoma this year has been bad. Oklahoma State this year has been Oklahoma State. I don't know what else to say about them. I think that Oklahoma, even though they lose to some pretty bad teams, it's a rivalry game. I think they're going to come out and they'll spank Oklahoma State pretty bad.
All right. 2 on Oklahoma State, 1 on Oklahoma. Let's move on to one of the bigger games on the weekend slate. USC minus 2.5 versus UCLA. Over-under is 76.5. Trey, I'm going to start with you.
Man, oh man, both of these teams have dynamic offenses. Caleb Williams has played his way into the Heisman competition, and DTR is one of the best dual threats in the nation. look for both these defenses to kind of stay in their locker room, not really know that the game is starting. I'm going to go over 76.5. USC is ranked number 3 in the nation with 42.4 points per game. UCLA is number 9 in the nation with 38.9 points per game. So both of these teams love to score. The over is 4-0 in USC's last 4 games overall. The over is 6-2 in UCLA's last 8 games overall. And the over is 4-0 in the last 4 games between these two teams. So whenever these two teams play, the over always hits. So I'm going to go over 76.5.
Yeah, these two offenses are explosive. That is for sure. But this is a win and in game for USC for the Pac-12 championship game. It would have been for UCLA, but last week they laid an egg against Arizona. So unless they win this game and get help, they're out of the championship game. I like USC to take care of business in this game. Caleb Williams has been great for USC. They had a tough loss early in the season against Utah. Utah went for 2 and crushed their dreams. But I think if USC wins this game by a lot and then they win the Pac-12 championship, they can still get into the playoffs if TCU falls to Baylor or if Michigan-Ohio State game's not very close. So we'll see how that plans out. But I'm going to take USC minus the 2.5. Teats?
Dude, I'm riding with both of you guys. I'm taking USC minus 2.5 and the over. I agree. I think USC is a pretty solid team, and they've definitely worked out all their kinks since that loss against Utah. And Utah's also, I mean, they're a top 15 team as well, top 10.
They're very good as well.
Very good as well. So if that's their only loss so far, I do think that this is a do or die for them. If they lose, it's not looking like they can make the playoffs, so they've got to win this one. So I definitely think over is an absolute lock, but minus 2.5, I like it for USC.
All right, let's move on to the second biggest game. The Pac-12 is loaded this week. Utah minus 2.5 versus Oregon. Oregon at home. Over under is 60.5. I'll start. I like the over. I like fireworks in this game. Over 60.5. Both these offenses are really good. This is a toss-up game for the spread because we don't really know what's going to happen with Oregon after last week when they kind of laid an egg against Washington. But I'm not confident to take them at home, so I'm going to take the over 60.5. Oregon has the number 2 offense in the country, so I expect fireworks. So, Teats?
You know, a lot of it is, and if you're listening at home, listening on the road from Cam, I saw that comment. You know, my bet for this is going to be potentially different than what I will take Saturday when that game comes. If Bo Nix starts, I'm taking Oregon plus 2.5 at home, and I'm locking that in now. If Bo Nix does not play, I'm taking Utah minus 2.5. I think that there is such a huge difference between Bo Nix and Ty Washington, I think is their backup.
Ty Thompson,
there we go. I think there's such a big enough difference between the two that Oregon's offense, who laid an egg last week against Arizona, I believe, it will be that game changer right there. If Bo Nix plays, Oregon's winning straight up. If Bo Nix does not play, Utah will win by at least 3.
Yeah, we saw last week Bo Nix go down, just non-contact. It was weird. I thought he popped his Achilles, but he was back in 2 drives later. The backup came in, took 1 snap, fumbled the ball, cost him the game. So yeah, if Bo Nix isn't playing, this is Utah all day. Trey?
Well, I'll kind of just touch what you guys said. Oregon let the college football playoff slip out of their grasp last week. Bo Nix got injured. That's why the line is this line. Oregon as home dogs absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah.
But if Bo Nix doesn't play, then 2.5 is what it is. And I think that with this line, I think that they're saying Bo Nix is not going to play because there's no way you could put Oregon as home dogs, even with what happened last week. But I think Ty Thompson will be good enough in relief. I'm going to take Oregon plus the 2.5. Oregon is 6-1 ATS in their last 7 home games. Oregon is 5-1 ATS in their last 6 games overall. And in this matchup, the home team has covered the last 5 times. So I'm going to go Oregon plus the 2.5. I think Ty Thompson will be able to, who knows, maybe set off some fireworks and maybe say, who was Bo Nix? He's gone next year. This is my team.
Yeah, the line suggests that Bo Nix either won't play or will be limited. He did come back in that game, so we will have to just wait and see on that one.